Good day, everyone. I am here to present to you my research entitled Practices and Challenges Faced by Elementary Teachers Along the Conduct of Blended Learning. I am Edna Dionglay, an EDDLM student. So here is the locale of my study. This is Tiris Elementary School, a small school in Bacon West District, Sorsogon City Division. This is where I am currently teaching. For the introduction, the COVID-19 pandemic brought so many changes to the lives of people. Education sector was not exempted in this change that affects the administrators, educators, and learners. So learning must continue amidst this pandemic. Many schools, like Tiris Elementary School, applied blended learning. The Department of Education issued DepEd Order Number 21 Series of 2019, other known as Policy Guidelines on K-12 Basic Education Program, which provides flexible learning options to allow the use of learning interventions that could better understand to the needs and diversity of learners in varying circumstances. So the alternative delivery modes and the alternative learning system, or the ALS, are the two main categories of FLOs. As one of the three learning modalities of ADMs, blended learning combines face-to-face and distance learning modalities to deliver formal learning curriculum standards. So the flexibility is in the time and duration of instruction, place, or method of instruction. Liego 2021 stated that blended learning refers to a learning delivery that combines face-to-face with any or a mix of online distance learning, modular distance learning, and TV or the radio-based instruction. Blended learning will enable the schools to limit face-to-face learning, ensure social distancing, and decrease the volume of people outside the home at any given time. Moreover, the Sustaining Education Reform Gains, or the SEARCH project, Save the Children Philippines 2021, pointed out that blended learning becomes the alternative to enable continued participation in school. So its application allows the schools to reduce the class size. Moreover, learners, when at home, are also engaged and guided with learning activities, assignments, and project-based work. However, many studies stated challenges along the conduct of blended learning. One of this is the study of Bryce 2021 that stated the challenges such as technology is expensive, inadequate training, technology issues, adapting content for blended learning, decreased motivation, and weakened relationship. However, Zhang and Ma Lin conducted a study on blended learning and physical education during COVID-19 pandemic in China. So they found out that although the government provides abundant teaching resources, the implementation of distance teaching in college physical education still faced many problems such as shortage of course resources, lack information literacy of teachers, and others. So with the above reasons, the researcher determined or decided to determine the practices of blended learning and the challenges faced by elementary teachers along the conduct of blended learning. So through this, appropriate actions could be done to enhance the conduct of blended learning. This study aimed to determine the practices and challenges faced by elementary teachers of Tiris Elementary School along the conduct of blended learning for the school year 2021 to 2022. Specifically, it determined the practices on blended learning of the elementary school and identify the challenges met by teachers along the conduct of blended learning and give proposed actions based on the result of the study. So this paper is anchored on the idea that many schools are now implementing blended learning. So this is relevant to the idea of Hussein and Shahzad and Ali that stated that the students use blended instruction for every lesson and in teaching learning process. So they use social media for communication and interaction purpose. So meanwhile, Ines 2020 talked about the community of inquiry framework that describes learning as the convergence of three presences, which are cognitive presence, teaching presence, and social presence, all of which, again, interact with each other to set an appropriate climate and regulate learning as well as supporting discourse between the teachers and the learner. Moreover, the complex adapted learning system identified teachers as one of its elements that need to adapt to pedagogies appropriate not only for blended learning but for learners preparing to engage productively in the 21st society, so which are characterized by significant diversity. In addition, the institutional support is needed if not sufficient condition for successful blended learning. So the participants of my study are this. So they are the 6 teachers of Tiris Elementary School, which is a public school in Sorsogon City Division. So they were chosen because this is the school where the researcher or where I am teaching. Total enumeration was done due to the small size of the entire school population. Ethical considerations were observed by giving informed consent to the participants. Excluded in this study are the pupils, parents, and school head of Tiris Elementary School. Teachers also coming from other schools are not also part of this study. So the researcher employed qualitative type of study. Qualitative data were collected along the conduct of the study. So in order to obtain the necessary data, the researcher prepared a letter noted by the school head. Upon approval, I went on with the data gathering procedures. So informed consent was given to the participants before the conduct of the interview. A short briefing or orientation regarding the purpose of the study was given. The in-depth interviews were conducted by the researcher last July 6 to 8, 2022. Open-ended questions were utilized, which undergone series of crafting and revision. The use of cell phone recorder and taking down notes were the strategies I employed to gather all the necessary data while conducting the face-to-face interview. Proper health protocols were observed along the conduct of interviews, and the data gathered were consolidated using frequency count. After that, tabular presentation was done to present the findings of the study. So let us now proceed to the results and discussions. Table 1 presents the practices on blended learning of the elementary school. The table shows that practices like conducted limited face-to-face, distributed modules or learning activity sheets for all the subjects, and prepared WHLP have the highest frequency. It means that all the 6 teachers conducted the said activities during the implementation of blended learning. Meanwhile, out of the 6 participants, only one teacher sent video lessons to their group chats. Interview. The respondents stated that they conducted the limited face-to-face classes from Mondays to Thursday from 7:30 to 11:30 in the morning. So the subjects they taught are the core subjects, which are English, science, mathematics, and Filipino. The least learned skills are the competencies they taught following the MELC or the most essential learning competencies. So in the conduct of limited face-to-face, they divided the class into two groups. Four participants divided their class according to the abilities of the learners, wherein fast learners are in a group and the other group are the slow and struggling learners. So according to them, addressing the learning gaps is much easier based on this kind of groupings. Meanwhile, the two teachers divided the class heterogeneously. So this implies that the elementary school teachers are very obedient in the mandates of the Department of Education, and they must be very careful in the implementation of limited face-to-face to ensure safety and improve learning outcomes. So based on the issuance of DepEd last February 2, 2022, Education Secretary Leonor Magtulis Briones has authorized all regional directors to commence the progressive expansion face-to-face classes for both public and elementary schools, public and private schools. So, moreover, the DepEd DOH Joint Memorandum Circular Number 3, Series of 2021, or the operational guidelines on the implementation of limited face-to-face learning modality, hereby established to guide the safe implementation of the limited face-to-face classes and to improve learning outcomes during the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, 100% of the participants stated that they prepared WHLP, or the Weekly Home Learning Plan. So they wrote the competencies to be taught in a week and the time schedule for those subjects. So their principal regularly checked and signed their plan. So this implies that teachers are on the right track in the implementation of limited face-to-face classes, and they should correctly plan out their weekly activities to ensure the proper utilization of time while the learners are at school. So if all the teachers religiously follow their weekly plan, DepEd could ensure addressing the learning gaps of the learners. So as stated in DepEd Order Number 32, Series of 2022, teachers are tasked to prepare weekly home learning plan. WHLP shall aid teachers and parents in keeping track of the day-to-day in-school and off-school general learning processes as they implement the most suitable and feasible alternative learning modality based on the context of their school. Due to the limited time the students are in school, distribution of modules and learning activity sheets were also done by the six teachers every Monday to the respective parents or guardians of the learners. So this implies that the teachers are ensuring continuous education amidst the time constraint the learners are staying at the school. Hence, if all the teachers constantly monitor and give feedbacks on the learning materials that the learners are submitting and to them, right intervention could be given to the students, especially those who are struggling. In the study of Ansaldo 2021, they stated that or she stated some reasons why teachers are in favor of the use of modules in learning. So some of these are more accessible to the kind of pupils in the community. It can cater to pupils who cannot afford gadgets and internet connectivity and others. Moreover, conducting remedial instruction was also done by four teacher participants. So they did this to slow learners who needed their utmost aid and attention. So one teacher said, due to the said remedial instruction, many pupils showed improvement in their phonemic and reading skills. So this implies that remedial instruction is a good way of helping the pupils improve. So moreover, pupils must support the school by instilling the study habits to their children. So through this, better outcomes could be seen to the learners. So this is proven by the study of Blackmine and others that found out that improvement in the reading outcomes after the completion of 8-month reading recovery intervention is evident. Meanwhile, sending of video lessons to the group chat or GC got the lowest frequency during the interview. So teachers must be resourceful in looking for appropriate video lessons suited to the levels of the learners and to their lessons. Bhatia and ViewSonic stated the benefits of using videos as a tool for learning, which include facilitates thinking and problem solving, fosters mastery learning, inspires and engages students, helps develop learning autonomy, and delivers authentic learning opportunities. Meanwhile, Table 2 presents the challenges faced by the elementary teachers along the conduct of blended learning. So the table shows that poor comprehension, reading abilities, and poor numeracy skills of learners, and the difficulty in conducting simultaneously the face-to-face and modular distance learning are the challenges of all the teachers in Tiris Elementary School. Meanwhile, the list identified challenges are the answers in LAS and modules are not credible, sometimes credible, and many could not view the video due to the lack of gadgets or cell phones and with no internet connection. The participants pointed out that the decrease in the pupils' performance when the academic occurred happened when the limited face-to-face classes started, they observed the true capabilities of their learners, which is different to the performances in the submitted outputs of the pupils' modules or LAS. So this implies that due to the limited class hour interaction of the pupils and teachers, the pupils' performances were affected, especially in the core subjects. So teachers must motivate the learners to the study at home or to study at home and answer the LAS and modules given to them as supplementary materials. Reading abilities, comprehension skills, and numeracy skills must be strengthened to improve their performances in other subjects. So in the study of Dargo and Dimas, they revealed that the 2.25% decrease in the general weighted average of the learners is observed after the implementation of MDL. So it denotes significant difference in their academic performance. So aside from the above mentioned challenge, difficulty in conducting simultaneously the face-to-face and modular distance learning is also one of the dominant problems of the educators. So they stated that printing and checking of labs or modules are additional burden to them since they still need to attend to their classes, so the supplies of LAS coming from the division office are also delayed. This implies that teachers must embrace the modes of teaching modalities to enhance the quality of education. Teachers must adjust to the present situation and accept the reality of the new normal. The division office also, DepEd and teachers must work hand in hand to attain the goals of educating every learner. So according to Malipo 2021 and her post at Manila Bulletin, she emphasized that DepEd said that limited face-to-face classes can mitigate the challenges of distance learning by addressing difficulties in monitoring and assessing learning progress remotely. So another is pupils became lazy in answering the modules and activity sheets when face-to-face classes started. So this also became a challenge to the teachers. So during the interview, teachers said that some of the last were answered by parents. So this implies that learners did not acquire all the necessary 21st century skills they needed to obtain. Learning gaps is also the effects of this. Constant meeting with the pupils, guardians, and parents is essential in obtaining the goal of DepEd. So parents should be motivated first to support their children in answering and submitting the last. Home visitation should be conducted by. Meanwhile, the least identified challenge by Tiris elementary school teachers is that many could not view the video lessons due to the lack of gadgets or cell phones and with no internet connection. So the data means that the teachers must be resourceful in addressing the needs of their learners. So many strategies could be done to make the students learn. Lack of gadgets, internet connectivity, and other factors must not be a hindrance in educating the learners. So instead, the government should give support to the students. So ILI 2021 stated that the government must provide internet facilities to school. So there is also a need to prioritize education and to give more scope to it through the media and budgetary measures. For the conclusion, so in this study, the following conclusions were drawn: conducted limited face-to-face distributed modules or learning activity sheets or LAS for all the subjects, prepared WHLP and conducted remedial instructions are the practices of the teachers in the elementary school during the implementation of blended learning. Sending of video lessons to the group chat is the least practiced activity of the participants due to lack or limited gadgets and lack of internet connectivity. Meanwhile, poor comprehension or reading abilities and poor numeracy skills of learners, difficulty in conducting simultaneously the face-to-face and modular distance learning, and pupils became lazy in answering the modules and activity sheets when face-to-face classes started are the challenges of the teachers. So in light of the foregoing conclusions, the following recommendations were offered. Learners must be given remediation and interventions suited to their learners or to their needs and abilities. Teachers must be very careful in the implementation of limited face-to-face classes to ensure safety and improve learning outcomes. Teachers must adjust to the present situation and accept the reality of the new normal. The government, administrators, parents, and other stakeholders must support the teachers in the conduct of limited face-to-face classes and modular distance learning for the improvement of the learners' performances. And further studies may be conducted to supplement the findings revealed in this study. So here are my references. With that, thank you so much.